Thinking about changing jobs? Good for you. But before you make a move, you might want to consider some advice that was given to John Wick.
Have you thought this through? I mean, chewed down to the bone.
Hey folks, Mark here from the Rational Workforce. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate you tuning in. So let's take a look at some reports that are coming out in and around the orbit of job hopping, job quitting now. It seems like there's a new trend every day that's popping up, right? There was the great resignation. We've all heard about that. And then there was the great stay that because of the economic times, people were going to stick around their job and be willing to tolerate a little bit more. Now the pendulum is swinging back towards everyone's going to leave again. And, maybe that's the case. Maybe you're contemplating a job change as well. Before you do that, I wanted to share a little bit of advice that I've had from my 30 or so years in the workforce. But first, let's take a look at what's motivating some of this, or what could be motivating some of this. So this is a report that recently came out of Fast Company, and it was a reaction to a study from Deloitte and Workplace Intelligence. And essentially, it says that as many as 60% of employees and 75% of the C-suite say that they're seriously considering quitting their jobs for new ones that would better support their well-being. That compares to last year, 57% of employees and 69% of the C-suite. So, the article itself breaks down a little bit of the disparity between how executives perceive the quality of their workplaces and the quality of the lives of their employees are, and what employees are actually feeling. Shocker, right? Out of touch bosses. Who knew? But I think the overarching theme here that I want to talk about today is the folks that are getting ready to leave, and whatever the reason is, if you're contemplating a move, some things to think through. Here's another piece from Fortune magazine that says over 1/3 of Gen Z and millennial employees say they'll seek new jobs in the coming year. As much as I hate to break things down to generational levels and making broad generalizations, I think this could actually be the case, because a lot of folks that are in another generation that's in the workforce, my generation, Gen X, we're kind of getting to that age where, the job hopping opportunities might not be so plentiful. I think certain industries, certain demographics, tech, for example, is not one that's known to be very kind to folks of a certain age. But regardless, I think the overall thing to think about here is the different trends in moving and the job hopping. And you can see here, the big stay may not be here to stay as employees grow restless in their jobs. All right, so let's unpack that a little bit. And I'm going to talk to you from a point of my personal experience. So if you look at my LinkedIn resume, you'll see I did an awful lot of job hopping, right? And again, I think going back to generational labels, there's a tendency to paint that on the millennials and the Gen Zers. But honestly, there's a lot of us that kind of had this mentality of, if I'm not getting fulfillment in the job I'm in now, I'm going to give that job an opportunity to kind of make good on it. I'm going to be very clear about what my expectations are, whether they're projects I want to work on, or titles that I want to achieve, or a salary or bonus structure that I'm trying to get. It could be any number of things. Make that clear to my managers and to the organization, see what their reaction is, give them some breathing room. And if I'm not getting fulfillment there, look elsewhere. And I think that's great. I think that's the right thing to do. But I also think there are a couple of points in my career where I made moves motivated by fear, not opportunity. Could see things changing in the workplace. I could see certain moves being made that I interpreted as, oh boy, there must be a layoff coming and I'm definitely going to be on the block. And, it's a lot of this stuff gets tied into self-confidence and fulfillment. And where do you derive your meaning? Is it all within work? Is it outside of the office? Like, that's a lot of complex things for your coach and or your therapist to cover with you. But there's a piece of advice that as I'm mentoring people, I try to give them some of this insight. And I really wish I had it when I was at some pivotal points in my career. But there's the concept of running from and running to. And that can paint your perceptions of what your new opportunity looks like, right? If you're in a running from mindset, if you're in a, this place sucks, this is awful, I hate my boss, right? Look, those not good for your mental health. It's important to make changes there. But when you're in that mindset, when you're interviewing and when you're talking to other companies, you have a tendency to kind of gloss over some yellow/red flags that you might see in the new gig, right? Because it's a variation on the theme of grass is always greener, right? When you're in that kind of fight or flight mindset, you tend to forget that you're interviewing your potential new employer as well, right? And there were a couple of instances in my career where, I thought the situation here is untenable. This place looks great. There's a couple things that maybe give me a little bit of pause, but no, that's just me being jittery, or that's just me being nervous about making a move. Then you make the move and you get in there and you go, yeah, those yellow flags were red and the red flags were really effing red. So now what do you do, right? A couple of specific instances there. One, I was very early on in my career. I had left the company to go to another one. I was there for about 3 weeks, and I had a conversation with my VP, who I stayed friends with. And he kind of laughed at me and said, just come home. Just come home. And like, what a wonderful gesture. And how lucky was I that I had that opportunity to come back to the job that I left. And there's another good lesson in there. Never burn a bridge, right? My dad's old advice keeps ringing true. There was another instance where I left a job, and the job I left was absolutely the right move. They did a lot of little bait and switch things in the hiring process that always leaves you feeling a little bit icky. But the job that I went to, man, I got about 3 months in and realized that I got sold a bill of goods there. And that was a little bit soul crushing too. Now, all of these things that I went through in the rearview mirror, I can now see are critical and necessary steps and mistakes that I had to make to get me to where I am now. I'm having a blast. But if I can save any of you that heartache, I just want you to think through some of these things, right? Give it a really good hard thought on, are you running from something or are you running to something? Is the next move that great opportunity, the dream job, the dream company? Is it ticking all the positive boxes? And, if so, awesome. Go with an open mind and a full heart and run to it. But, there's a lot of things in the career and in life where, you're either motivated by fear or you're motivated by love. And that's something that I've been working on a lot, just personally, within growing my main business, my consulting business, Kickmotor, what I wanted to do, starting this channel, and my passion around being able to share some of these insights with you folks. So just make sure that you're doing that. And as you're running the numbers, as you're doing those pluses and minuses lists on whether you should stay or you should go, please just ask yourself that question. Is it a run from or a run to? And then calibrate how discerning your BS detector is during the interview process accordingly. So just a little piece of advice for you. If there's any way I can help you out, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll either do another video, or if this is something private, reach out to me privately and I'll answer you directly. But if you like what you've seen here, if you'd like to see more of it, please ring the bell, click like, click subscribe. We would absolutely love to see you come back again. We're a few weeks in on this channel and it's growing. I'd love to see it grow faster. So if you like it, spread the word. If not, thanks for watching this far in, and just leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see differently or better. With that, folks, I'm going to sign off. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and God bless. Take care.